Alright guys, in this video we're going to have a quick chat about emergency funds. Now first off the bat, if you are interested in getting better with handling your money, if you want to learn how to budget, if you want to learn how to invest and learn different ways of earning income to improve your budget, improve your lifestyle, your relationship with money, head over to onmoney.com.au. We've got resources there to help you manage your money better. We have a blog covering all different kinds of personal finance topics, and we offer a coaching service there as well. Alright, onto this video now. What is an emergency fund and why is it useful? So, do you need to have an emergency fund? Some people have more of a need for an emergency fund than other people. It really depends how many sources of income you have. What are the intervals that you get paid? Is it regular or is your income a bit sporadic? Do you have many liquid assets? If you have a lot of liquid assets on hand, then you probably do not need an emergency fund as much as someone who doesn't have much money on hand at all. Now that said, my opinion is that no matter your financial situation, no matter if you're rich, poor, or whether you get paid weekly or whether you rely on commissions that come in every now and then, an emergency fund can be beneficial to everyone. And everyone, no matter their financial situation, will benefit from having liquid assets on hand so they can draw on that whenever they need to. So what is the purpose of an emergency fund? Well, an emergency fund is designed to cover unexpected expenses, things that come up that you were not planning for, larger, more lumpier expenses like annual expenses that you may not have budgeted for. It is also an insurance policy on the loss of income. If you were to lose your job, if your hours were to get cut back, if you were waiting for some kind of income to come in that is not going to come in or is going to come later than expected, having an emergency fund on hand is going to provide that insurance policy for you so that you know that you've got that money there to cover that expense or to cover that loss of income when you need it to be covered. It moves you away from the precarious position of running your budget on a week-to-week basis or a paycheck-to-paycheck basis, which is very dangerous. All it takes is one big bill or an illness or a car crash, something like that, something unexpected, and then you are blown out of the water and you're broke. And an emergency fund will stop you from getting to that position where you have to start making really difficult decisions on how you're going to pay for something. Even if you're making good money now, there are no guarantees in life, and there are certainly no guarantees when it comes to the economy, especially when we might be heading into a bit of a downturn. You need to be covered all the more because we just do not know what is coming around the corner as far as how the economy is going to go, if a recession is going to come, if unemployment is going to rise, how expensive everything is getting with the cost of living. You just don't know what's going to happen in the future, so having a bit of money tucked aside ready for when you need it is a really smart move. Even if you don't call upon this money, it just helps you to relax. It provides a sense of security. Like I said, an insurance policy. You've got it there, you'll be able to sleep better at night, you know you're covered if you need it. If an emergency doesn't come up, this can still be very handy, having a sum of money set aside, some cash reserves aside for when you need it. It can be used in good times as well. I mean, you always want to have that money there, but having that money there enables you to take risks that you would otherwise not be able to take if you were living week to week, paycheck to paycheck. When you have cash reserves in place to keep you out of trouble, you'll be better placed to take a risk on a new business venture, to invest some money in something that maybe, you know, it might come good or it might not, but might be a bit more speculative. You're better placed to take business risks and investment risks when you know that you have this pot of money sitting there to bail you out if you need to. You can use it to take calculated risks, to expand your investment portfolio, to expand your diversification of income, to set yourself up better for the future. It enables you to approach business and investing from a position of strength because you know that you have this money sitting there just in case. Alright, so how do you set up an emergency fund and how much money should you have in it? Well, like I said, the whole aim of having an emergency fund is getting away from the week-to-week, paycheck-to-paycheck mentality. You're just playing with fire with that. You're one disaster away from wipeout. No one wants to be in that position. So to start off, I would recommend working out how much money you need each month to live And start off your emergency fund to cover you for 1 month. So if you were to lose your job for 1 month, how much money do you need to keep going? And then put that money aside to cover 1 month's worth of living expenses. That is a great start, but then eventually you want to move it out to 3 months. That's even better. If you want, you can take it further out to 6 months. Personally, I like to have at least a year's worth of expenses on hand. That makes me very comfortable that I can go on doing my investing, go on doing, trying things in business. And I know if my income dried up today, I'd have enough to keep me going for at least a year. That's where I like to be. You don't have to be quite emergency funded up to that level. It's a personal preference, but I would recommend having at least 3 months worth of living expenses set aside. But if that's too much for you, having a month is better than nothing. You always want to keep the fund topped up to the level that you have set it at. So if you have, say, I don't know, $10,000 in your emergency fund, then if something comes up, if you have a big car expense, if your car has to go into the workshop and it costs you $3,000 to fix and you have to draw on your emergency fund to do that, so the balance goes down to $7,000, then you want to work to get it back up to $10,000 again, to constantly replenish it, to keep it at that level that you set it at, so that you can maintain that sense of security and that financial protection to keep the household budget in the black. So where is the best place to keep your emergency fund? This will depend on the individual. You might look at an offset account. If you have access to an offset account, that's pretty hard to pass up. Failing that, a high interest earning saver account is a good option. Even physical cash can be good. It's always good to have a little bit of physical cash on hand. You never know when FPOS is going to drop out. The main point is it has to be liquid and it has to be at call. You might be able to get a higher interest rate on a term deposit, but if it's locked up for 3 months and you need it tomorrow, that's no good. So I wouldn't use a term deposit. Rather, I would opt for an online at call savings account, even if it is a lower interest rate than a term deposit, knowing that I can get to that money when I need to get to that money. That is the whole point here. So I'm happy to take a bit of a lower interest rate if it means I'll have instant access to that money. The same goes for other assets that you can't liquidate straight away. Shares, for example, there is more volatility. You don't know if your $10,000 emergency fund in shares is going to be worth $10,000 next week. Also, it usually takes a couple of days after you make a trade on your shares to get access to the money, and that can push out to 3-4 days if the share sale transaction was done on a weekend. So that's not really good either. If I need the money today, I don't want to have to wait 2 to 3 to 4 days. I need it today. So the whole point here is having it at call. You need to have access to it instantly because you don't get to pick the timing of an emergency. And when you do have a financial emergency, you don't get to set the terms on when that bill becomes payable. You need to be able to pay it right away to keep you out of trouble. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Like I said at the top, if you want to get better at managing money, not just that, but also investing, head over to our website onmoney.com.au. We've got several resources there. We've got a blog, we've got a coaching service. We're rolling out some courses to help the consumer get better at managing money and to stay out of financial strife. So keep an eye out for that. I hope this video cleared up a couple of things. Keep on saving. We'll catch you later.